The blind men and the elephant. See the full picture. Have you ever been absolutely sure you were right about something, only to later discover you had seen just a part of the whole truth? We all do it. We see the world through the lens of our experiences, our beliefs, our limitations. But what if the truth is bigger than we can imagine? What if we're all just touching one piece of the elephant? This story, ancient, simple, and profound, holds a mirror to our minds. It reveals how we judge, argue, and even fight over partial truths. But more than that, it teaches us how to grow. By learning to see the full picture. Long ago, in a quiet corner of the world, there was a village known for its scholars and sages. People traveled from faraway lands to hear debates and teachings. But within this village lived 6 blind men. Respected not for what they could see, but for their deep thinking and endless curiosity. They were seekers of truth. Listeners of philosophy. Interpreters of the world through touch, sound, and thought. One day, a merchant arrived with a strange and massive animal. An elephant. The villagers gathered in awe. But the blind men, curious as ever, said, "We cannot see this creature, but let us touch it and learn what an elephant truly is." The merchant agreed, and the blind men approached. Each from a different side. The first blind man walked straight into the elephant's side. He reached out and placed his hand on the vast surface. He exclaimed, "An elephant is like a wall. Flat, solid, and unmovable." The second, standing near the tusk, ran his hands along its smooth, curved point. "No, no," he argued, "an elephant is like a spear, sharp and strong." The third, grabbing the trunk, shouted, "You're both wrong. An elephant is like a snake, long, flexible, and alive." The fourth, who felt the elephant's leg, laughed, "You are all mistaken. Clearly, the elephant is like a tree trunk, thick, sturdy, and round." The fifth, touching the ear, waved his hands through the soft, flapping skin. "Friends, the elephant is nothing like that. It is like a fan, moving air as it sways." And finally, the sixth blind man, who held the tail, said confidently, "You are all confused. The elephant is like a rope, thin and strong." Each man had touched a different part. Each believed his truth was the whole truth. And soon, their curiosity turned into conflict. Voices rose. Fingers pointed. Each blind man insisted his version was the only truth. "You're blind and foolish." "No, you are wrong." "I felt the truth with my own hands." The debate grew heated. What began as a journey for wisdom, now echoed with pride, ego, and division. Around them, the villagers whispered, "Is this what wisdom looks like? To argue over pieces and forget the whole?" At that moment, the old village sage stepped forward. He had been watching silently. Now, he raised his voice. "Stop," he said, "you are all right. And you are all wrong." The crowd fell silent. The sage stood between the blind men and the elephant. His voice was calm, yet carried the weight of wisdom. "You," he said, pointing to the first, touched the elephant's side and felt a wall. "You are not wrong. You," he turned to the second, felt the tusk, and yes, it is sharp like a spear. To each of you, your truth feels complete, but it is only a piece of something much greater." The blind men listened, their anger softening. "You were not wrong, my friends," said the sage, "but you were not entirely right either. The elephant is all of those things: wall, spear, snake, tree, fan, rope, and more." He paused, then said slowly, "The truth is not in your piece, but in the combination of all pieces." The blind men lowered their heads. Their hands, once clenched in argument, now rested quietly at their sides. One of them spoke, "I judged too quickly. I thought my part was the whole, but I never asked what you felt." Another added, "I was so sure I was right, I never stopped to listen." The sage nodded. This is how most people live. They see only what they have touched, and they fight over what they do not understand. He looked at the crowd and said, True wisdom is not in claiming to know everything, it lies in knowing how little we know, and being open to the rest. The blind men, now humbled, turned to each other with new respect. They had learned something more important than what an elephant was. They had learned the value of perspective, the danger of ego, and the beauty of listening. From that day forward, they shared their experiences together. No longer arguing, but learning. No longer divided, but united by their curiosity. And in doing so, they came closer to understanding not just the elephant, but the world around them. They had discovered a truth far greater than any one of them could have known alone. We only see clearly when we see together. So now, dear listener, ask yourself, in your own life, are you holding onto a piece of the truth while thinking it's the whole? Do you judge others without asking what they've felt or seen? Do you debate? Or do you seek to understand? The story of the blind men and the elephant reminds us, wisdom begins where certainty ends. Before you decide, before you argue, before you judge, pause and ask, what am I not seeing? Because often, the truth isn't in your piece or mine, but in the space between us. If this story opened your heart or your mind, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep learning, growing, and seeing the world from every angle. Thank you for listening.